Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be checking out Blood Hunt Issue 3 by Jed MacKay and Pepe Larraz. Blade's plan continues as Black Panther finds what Blade sent him after, finding it buried deep under Wakanda. Like the last Blood Hunt issue, Jed is using a select number of tie-ins to actually flesh out the story of Blood Hunt. He's not really telling it in the actual Blood Hunt book. This time with the Black Panther tie-in being the main book this issue draws from, making that issue a must-read if you want to know what's really going on. Blade's plan is also now completely out in the open to the superhero community, and Scarlet Witch gets an absolute banger of a line here in the opening pages, telling Blade that now the Avengers' eyes are open to him, and when their gaze falls upon him, he will wither. That's such a damn cool line, and Jed is so good at these lines. He's done it multiple times throughout his run on Avengers, and I like that he's not just focusing on one character to give all these lines. Every Avenger has had a line like this, and we get even more a little later on in the issue. In the Sanctum Sanctorum, the vampire Spider-Man attacks his friends and teammates, but he's no match for Clea and Doctor Strange, who use the Eye of Agamotto to clear Miles' mind of the control Blade had over him, returning him to a normal, yet still vampire Miles Morales. The story begins to sort of come together here as the Avengers and the Midnight Mission and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man all gather in the Sanctum to reveal to Blade's daughter that her father is the one behind this, and it's only by her hand that Blade can be defeated. Of course, this is being said by Dracula, since he knows all about this sort of prophecy that Blade is trying to fulfill, and none of the heroes believe him because he's obviously Blade's #1 villain, so why would they believe him? Jed builds on all of the stuff that has been happening with Dracula in the last couple of years, with him wanting to sort of set up a nation of vampires and be their own people, and that's what he is doing here, where he is the leader of a nation, and if these vampires come in and wipe out the human nation, they're also going to be wiping out his vampire nation. So he has as much skin in the game as everyone else, so he has no reason to lie or manipulate Brielle at this moment. Of course, all this being laid onto Brielle at one time is a bit too much for her, and she ends up running out of the Sanctum, and Spider-Man and Dracula are forced to team up to go after her, while the rest of the team come up with a plan to try and get to Blade. At this point, Jed begins to split the cast he has in this book up a little bit here, obviously so he can spin them off into the billions of tie-ins that this book seemingly has for some reason, and I find that a little bit disappointing since it was such a different group of heroes that were sort of the main characters of this story, that were the main focus of this main book, you know, the Midnight Mission, Doctor Strange, Clea, all these really interesting characters, and now they are being sort of jettisoned off into tie-ins. The Midnight Mission are teleported away to go and raise an army to fight the vampires, while the Avengers handle Blade and the Blood Coven and come up with a plan to distract Blade and lure him out, and they decide to let Captain America deliver a speech to both give the people of Earth hope and to lure Blade off the impossible city. This is the other banger line I was talking about earlier, as Jed has Sam deliver this brilliant speech about the Earth coming together to fight different threats, and he rattles off a couple of threats that the Marvel Universe has fought in the recent years, like the Kotati, Hydra, Galactus, Null, all these great threats that the Earth came together and fought against, and these vampires are no different to them, and they're going to win, and if they end up dying in the process, they will be avenged by the Avengers. Jed has done a fantastic job with Sam Wilson's Captain America throughout his series and given him a couple of moments like this every couple of issues, and it always just hypes me up when we get a big speech from a Captain America that unifies the team, and in this case the entire world. The plan works and Blade is enraged at the speech, leading the Blood Coven down to Earth to confront the Avengers, but not before telling Black Panther to bring what he has found in Wakanda to him. This is when the book kind of ends with this big cliffhanger, as we learn that Panther found something that was older than Atlantis at the bottom of Wakanda, and that is the Temple of the First Blasphemy, which he has the impossible city teleport right into the middle of New York. Pepe Larraz's artwork is great throughout the entire issue and through this entire series, but in these final pages it's just on a whole nother level, as he paints this giant Mount Doom-like temple that just craters itself into the middle of New York. It's just massive in scale, and he captures that scale really well. I can't wait to see what designs he has for the interior of the temple and whatever might lurk within it, since while the story might be simple or lacking, Larraz's designs are just top tier, and so far in Blood Hunt, everything from the Blood Coven to what he's doing with Blade has just looked brilliant. Blood Hunt issue 3 brought Blade's plans forward a little bit, but so much of the book is just setting up all of the various tie-ins that have yet to come out, or are pretty much telling you to just go and read the tie-ins if you want the actual meat of the story, since most of the plot seems to be happening in these tie-in books and not here. Still, there's some really great stuff like Cap's speech and the great lines Jed gives Scarlet Witch early on in the book, and the great art by Pepe Larraz, but apart from that, there's not much meat on this issue's bones. I'm going to give this issue a 6 out of 10.